This episode is brought to you by High Point Market. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast, your guide to designing a life you love. Join us as we explore the keys to living the life you want without compromise. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast. I am your co-host, Melissa Grove. I'm here with my co-host, Lori Mansky. And we are going to talk about one question. This is our new series, just one big question. And a lot of these questions have come up in our community, or they've just come up out and about at certain events. And this one's a big one. Will hiring more designers actually increase my profit? I think that this is a really big question, especially right now. A lot of the design firms, a lot of the designers that we work with in the community are hiring. And so they're uncertain about that hire because they're just like, well, now I'm in charge of this person's livelihood. Can I support this new team member? Like, can I actually increase profit? So what do you say, Laura?
I mean, you're the one that usually raises this question, and I think it's super important. And it's what kind of firm are you actually trying to build? I think that's the most important. Like, if as long as you're going to this intentionally, yes, hiring, I mean, in general, yes, hiring designers for your team will increase your profit if you're doing it the right way. You know what you're building and you're charging correctly. Right? Like it's a yes, but maybe not in the way people think. Like you would think, okay, I am hiring a senior designer. I'm going to be able to charge more for this person. They're going to produce more work because they have the experience in the background. They're faster. Um, yeah, my profit's going to go up.
Mhm.
However, that may not be the case. You may not make as much of a profit on a senior designer as you would someone that is a junior designer or mid-career, because they can actually do more production work and bill more hours, right? Isn't that what you find? And we calculate all of this. We have a calculator for everything.
Yes, we do. And so when we're talking about, they're just production, we bill hourly. And so we calculate something called utilization rate. So we have let's say an intern or somebody who's a junior level designer. They maybe just have like 1 to 2, maybe even 3 years of experience. They're going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. They're going to be doing a lot of the pricing, the ordering, all of those things that do take up a lot of time. And it's really good to get them kind of clued in to those kinds of tasks. So then, when they eventually become seniors, they understand how it works. But that means that their utilization rate is nearly 100%. Like nearly 100% of their time is spent on client work, meaning work we can bill, right? But when you get up to somebody like a director level or to Laura's level as a principal, more of that work more of their time, I should say, is spent on non-billable work, maybe mentoring the team, doing some admin stuff. We have leadership planning meetings where we're talking about finances and projecting growth, or there's business development, which you can't really charge that to a client, but you're still going to be paying that team member. You're still going to be paying yourself. So that utilization rate is a little bit closer to maybe 50%.
Oh my gosh, maybe that's being generous. Probably
Well,
like
maybe 3 to
20.
5%. So you're paying for that person, but they're not making that money back, which is really interesting because we just finished a podcast talking about, hey, as long as you understand somebody's salary and then you can double that, that can be a great hourly rate. And you would think, okay, well, then I'm making 50% profit. And that's not always the case. You actually make a bigger profit margin on the people who have a higher utilization rate. Your interns and the junior designers, you might be making very little profit as principal.
Right. So even if you're billing $300 an hour and I'm only able to bill 20% of my time, that may not equate to the same as someone that you're billing at $150 an hour, but you're billing 90% of their time.
Right.
So yes, I definitely think you have to put this on paper before you assume every designer you hire is going to be profitable. And that doesn't mean just go hire 10 junior designers because they are 90% billable, because then that becomes a management issue. And you will be billing zero of your time because you will be constantly managing these 10 junior designers. So I think there's a give and take, but that's why I love having the team structure that we have, because it makes a lot of sense when you are billing hourly. You know what their utilization rate is. And so you can predict month over month exactly how much that that group as a team is going to bill and what your profit's going to be. And that's what I mean with knowing what kind of design firm you're actually trying to build so you can project that profitability.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a three-person team, it may be you, a junior designer, and maybe someone that has a few more years experience, so like an associate level or even a senior level designer. Maybe there's 3 people. You can build out what that looks like for profitability, because you know what your utilization is and those other 2 people on your team, so you know exactly. Same goes for a firm like ours with 15 people. We know exactly what every member bills, what their profitability is, and then what that team, that combined team is gonna bill. So I think the answer is yes, hiring more designers will increase your profit. Depends on the type of designer, how much.
Yeah. And on some other factors as well, because if you are spent just stuck doing design work 100% of the time, you're unable to develop business. You're unable to create the connections that you need in order to grow your book of business. So even though it's not a direct, they're working equals more money,
Right.
it can free up your time in order to do the things that you need to do that will then eventually help you make more profit too.
That's right. And then I think, like, where do you stand on hiring billable team members versus non-billable that do it all of the operations work that you as a designer should not be focused on because you should be out developing business and then doing billable work?
Yeah, I mean, for us, since we're so large, we have a lot of that staff in house. Myself, we have an accountant, marketing, as well as an admin. Since we have a physical studio, we need somebody to actually physically be here. And they're all full time people. But I'd say that if you were much smaller or you're just starting out, contractors are great. I mean, I still work with contractors, freelancers. You can work with an agency, people who are part time. I will say though that those roles, even though they're not directly billing, they do increase your profit. Again, because an accountant will free up your time. You're not there stuck in invoicing. You can actually do the design work or get more business. And also, we've worked with really great accountants that have helped us keep the money that we have by mitigating mistakes. I mean, like it's so easy to make mistakes when you're buying hundreds of thousands of dollars of furniture. So I think having an accountant in-house for us really makes a lot of sense. I think that that should be somebody's first or second hire,
Okay.
personally, in my opinion.
I agree.
Marketing is really flexible. I mean, it's a huge industry, so you could find a marketer at any level to work with your business. And we actually work with a hybrid at LUDC. I work with a contractor who isn't even here, and then I have a full-time person who is here that can take behind the scenes and help us with events and help me execute that strategy. And while they don't directly bill, our best clients come from marketing. So they're definitely increasing profit.
What do you think about billing for purchasing, which is that role? And we can tell you obviously what we do, but it's that role that's kind of between operations and then the execution of a design vision. So, how do you feel about that?
That was hard because, you can run into some tax implications with somebody who's working on procurement. Uh, I really like the way that we do it actually. She doesn't bill for 100% of her time. She's billing for when she's when she's doing site visits, when she's more like boots on the ground, kind of stuff. But she also fixes a lot of issues too that she doesn't bill for,
Mhm.
and a lot of other mistakes and troubleshooting, which I think makes sense for her role since we do charge markup on furniture.
Yep.
So she doesn't 100% bill for herself. And I actually think that's fair.
I do too. I feel good about that. Like, I feel like if we were billing for 100% of her time for every little thing, it would be kind of, I don't know, like icky or something. Like, there's something wrong with that. But I do think like we don't charge a really high rate. So we're trying to cover some of her time and we're not billing for every hour. So I feel like it's good. It's fair. Like you said, we're getting paid for the work that is really important to that project for that client. But then the things that should just happen because we're supporting a furniture ordering process happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me an example, and I don't know if you I'm sure you can do this off the top of your head, actually. Let's say we have a junior designer.
Okay.
What does that profitability look like on a just in general? We don't have to talk about exactly their salaries, but what do you feel like that profitability should look like?
It's usually around 70% because their utilization rate is so, so high, and then that
Yeah.
ranges all the way up to a director who ideally is around 30%
Right.
profitability.
Okay. So 70%. So let's say, just for round numbers, we're paying that person $50 an hour. We're billing them at $100 an hour. So can you do math? I'm so
Now,
bad at
I don't
freaking
know why
math.
you're even asking me this
I'm like,
question.
can you do this? I
Does
don't
that even
know.
matter? No, the thing is, like, just make again, going back to our previous conversation, like, whatever their salary is, double it for
70%.
charges.
So they're making $70. So we're making
That's fine.
$20 an hour.
What?
Is that wrong? If we're
Why are we
billing
doing
them,
it this way? No, like, if they cost us $35 an hour, then we're gonna charge $70 an hour for their time,
no, no, no.
and
Let's
that's
say
a
we're
very
billing. Forget it.
yeah. I think we're going down a wrong road when we're talking about math here. And again, everybody's business is so specific and different. Let's go back to the original question. Kind of
Yeah.
gone down a rabbit hole here. Will hiring more designers actually increase your profit? I think that will hiring any
Yes.
team member can increase your profit, whether they're a designer or they're a
Marketing,
marketing or they're a procurement agent, or even your admin person. I
accounting.
think one of the things
Yes.
to think about is that everybody in your firm is a brand ambassador for your firm. And so they have value. If you have a physical location and somebody's coming in there and you don't have somebody to greet them or somebody
Yeah.
who's nice and friendly and wonderful to make them tea, I don't know. That's not a very good welcoming feeling. And I think that when you focus on the experience as well, and you have people to focus on the experience, you're going to get word of mouth clients. You're going to get people who want to work with you because of that experience. I think if you're hiring, it doesn't matter if you're hiring the right person, whatever their role is, they will increase your profit. I think guaranteed.
Even a bookkeeper can increase your profit because there were so many things that I feel like we weren't capturing before we had a very skilled, very dedicated bookkeeper that knows our business inside and out. There were a lot of things that I felt like I wasn't able to bill for, or I felt like, oh, and this is even for your role, Melissa, as a COO. And again, it's taking that view from a money perspective, from a business perspective, instead of that I'm in the weeds on this project with this client relationship perspective. I think that we charge for the time that we're actually putting into the project without getting our feelings involved. So I feel like there's so much value even in non-billable roles because of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I do think pretty much any design role you hire for, you should expect it to be profitable. Otherwise, there's no reason to hire for that. I think that any role you hire for should be profitable, from a junior to a director level. As long as you're doing it strategically, you know the design firm that you're trying to build, and you have all of your numbers squared away, it will be profitable for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think
So
having visibility into your numbers is number one, because how do you even know you're profitable without seeing that reporting, which is why I harp on this a lot, but I think having a good bookkeeper, a good accountant on your side to help you figure out those numbers will help you plan for the future, and I think you need that.
right. I mean, I don't think there's much more to say about this. I feel like we've answered this question. Yes, hiring more designers will actually increase your profit if you do it intentionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Mic drop.
I'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out our next podcast, coming live next week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. In the meantime, you can find us and more wonderful stories like these on designdash.com. And make sure to follow us at Design Dasher on Instagram and TikTok. Till next time.